Show me in your statement where you dealt with it, responding to Colonel Erasmus, who sought advice from you. Show me in your statement where you dealt with it. Insofar as the subject related to Colonel Erasmus, who sought advice, show me where in your statement you dealt with it.
Did I suggest, sorry, Chair, I just want to...
Show me in your statement where you dealt with it. Insofar as Colonel Erasmus, who sought advice from you, was concerned.
It's not in the statement itself. Let me go 61, 62. Please, with your indulgence, Chair. These are the engagements I've had with Colonel Erasmus verbally when he returned to me on that date. And my issue was, if you want me to extend or support an extension of the suspension, what would be the material facts that I would have to use to...
But your statement is quite detailed, Mr. Behari. Why would you leave out something that related to what he came to you about? Your statement is quite detailed. It says nothing in response to Colonel Erasmus about the extension of the suspension.
Chair, I did not finalize the process of saying to him I support it or not.
Why not?
Because I was still waiting for him to confirm to come on another date after I've seen the documents. So when I saw the documents and I discussed it with him, and I said to him, these are the issues, I need to speak to the Chief of Police, because I'm not satisfied that we will be, and these are the issues I raised.
You see, my problem is, later when you talk about the head, Commissioner Mapia, you say that by then the suspension had expired. So you were working within very short and tight timelines. You raise all of these issues. They have nothing to do with the impending expiry of the suspension. You raise all of these issues. Time is running. What do you do about the expiry of the suspension? Bear in mind, Mr. Behari, that the suspicion, false or correct, the suspicion is that you were part of a clique that was protecting Brigadier Mkhwanazi. So those who are on the other side, in quotation marks as it were, will say you let the suspension expire exactly because you are on Brigadier Mkhwanazi's quote-unquote side, as it were. Do you get the context? I come back to my question and I ask, why did you not give advice to Colonel Erasmus on the extension of the suspension? That's what he came to you about, not all of the issues that you then raised or chose to raise with him. Why did you not give him advice on what he came to you for?
Chair, Colonel Erasmus, on the second date after looking at the documents, I had to inquire, if you're going to have, you must have a reason for extending the suspension. There must be valid reasons in terms of other witnesses still to come. If he had dealt with that, he never gave me a response to my questions. Who are the witnesses? So in our engagement, if he had told me at that stage, but Mr. Behari, we brought the stuff, I need this, they would have been finalized then, Chair. He never gave me the responses.
Had you taken a definitive view on what you saw as gaps, had you taken a definitive view that says there are gaps and there is no way that these gaps may be plugged? Had you taken a definitive view in that regard?
No, Chair. When I had it was a conversation with Erasmus to say, these are challenges, but tell me.
Now, if you had not taken a definitive view, surely that must mean that you had not discounted the possibility that further investigations just might plug those gaps. Is that not correct?
The further investigations, Chair, would have certainly plugged it if those gaps. But mine was to say to Chief.
Yeah, that's enough. That's enough for mine.
It would have been at the time, Chair, when I looked at the matter and I said to him, but these are the concerns I have. If he said to me, no, I still need this witness and so on, during our conversation, I would have had no problem with that.
No. It could not simply have depended on what he said. You are the head of legal.
Yes.
You have just accepted now that those gaps could have been plugged. Not so. You've just said now.
No, correctly, Chair.
Now. How can you throw it back at him if you yourself think that these gaps can be plugged? Is the obvious thing to do not to actually give him time to plug those gaps? If, as you say, they were capable of being plugged, why don't you say, my advice to you, which is what you've come to me about, is an extension of the suspension. That will give you time to plug these gaps. Was that not the obvious thing for you to do?
In hindsight, Chair, now that I hear you put it
Sorry?
that way. In hindsight, now that I hear you say it that way.
You accept.
It. Yes, because, let me leave it at that.
Was it not obvious even at the time? I don't think it's enough for you to say that in hindsight you accept. Was it not obvious even at the time? Why put stumbling block after stumbling block after stumbling block without giving him solutions? He has come to you for a solution.
Chair, at the time, the solution was for me to say, go and complete the investigations. Go and do the stuff.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly. And for that to happen, Mr. Behari, he needs time. And he can only have enough time if you agree to the extension of the suspension. The suspension was not was for a purpose. It was not for the sake of it. Suspension should be removed from the system for proper investigations to take place. So why do you not give him time to do that? By assisting him with what he came to you for, extending the suspension. It's not enough to say in hindsight you agree with me.
Chair, when he came to me, it was about supporting the extension of a suspension. We had an engagement. I said to him, these are what I think are problematic. These are things we have to close, and these are the witnesses we have to deal with. It didn't finalize. I said, can I speak to the chief of police? And then the next meeting was the chief of police called me. But that was by the time the suspension had lapsed. But I didn't deal with any suspension.
Effectively, you let the suspension expire, Mr. Behari. You let the suspension expire.
Chair,
you are raising all the problems with him, and you say, I'm going to speak to the chief of police, and by the time you speak to the chief of police, the suspension has expired. You let it expire.
Chair, but there was never an intention to let the suspension expire. My intention was to make sure that we have all the processes, because as I said, applying the laws to say that a suspension is not punitive, nothing stops us from still carrying on and saying that we have new information to resuspend. The HOD HR could have resuspended. But for me, looking at it, and I know you mentioned that I'm going on about the compliance issue. That was what was important to me. How do you finalize these gaps? And Erasmus could not give me at that stage any response, but it could be taken as, and I say to you that I let it lapse, but it was never my intention. My intention was to look at how do we finalize and close all the gaps. The suspension could always have gone back and said to the HOD, let's resuspend. There's been other cases where we've resuspended. Suspension lapse, we resuspended.
Yes. You see, I would understand you, Mr. Behari, on your point about the possibility of continuing with investigations even when the person is back with their suspension having expired. I would understand if you were saying that, having told Colonel Erasmus in so many words that, Colonel, I have all these gaps which need to be plugged, but let the suspension expire. You can continue with your investigation to plug these gaps with Brigadier Mkhwanazi back at work. I would understand if that was your approach and if that was what you communicated to Colonel Erasmus. You never did that. You are now stating this in the witness box.
Chair, because as that is the policies of the city. These are legislation.
I I understand the policies, I understand the prescripts, but the point I'm raising relates to your response to Colonel Erasmus when he comes to you for advice. Sitting there now, you tell us that in accordance with our prescripts, even if a suspension has expired, investigations may continue. You are saying that in the witness box, but Colonel Erasmus came to you for advice. You never responded to him that way. That is the point I'm raising. It's different from the question of prescripts that you are raising.
Chair, as I could say, is I've focused on the issues. Colonel Erasmus, as I said, I'm aware of the processes in terms of suspensions. If the suspension lapses, we've dealt with that previously, we can always suspend again. Because there's new issues that came in.
Can you please focus on how you dealt with Colonel Erasmus? Please,
but that was
please do not focus on the prescripts. I understand them.
Okay, but
Can you focus on how you dealt with Colonel Erasmus? That's my issue.
Chair, there was no definitive response to Colonel Erasmus. I did say to him, I will discuss it also with the Chief of Police. Because even if the suspension lapsed then, I could have still discussed it with the Chief and said, right, once we finalized it, let's go proceed further on that issue.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Can I just